Welcome to ICT Applications. In this lesson, I would be covering the remaining part of Introduction to Computers. During the previous lesson, we discussed about what is a computer and the difference between data and information. These are the learning outcomes for the today's lesson. After completing this lesson, you will be able to understand basics of a computer. You will be able to describe the elements of a computer system, describe types of computers, and also to explain the advantages and disadvantages of a computer. We are all aware of what computers are and their immense importance in our daily lives. It is an electronic device that not only stores data but also processes and manipulates data to carry out functions. Upon receiving valid instructions, a computer can perform a variety of operations. A computer system includes all the components, hardware and software that make up a fully functional computer. We can identify hardware, software, data, and users as elements of a computer system. They all interact with each other and perform the task at hand. Let us look at all of them one by one. As illustrated here, you can see the main parts of a computer system. A computer system is not only hardware and software. To properly operate a computer system, you need users, as well as data that you're going to input into the system. So we can consider a computer system includes hardware, software, data, and users. Hardware. Hardware consists of interconnected electronic devices that are tangible. That is, you can see and touch. These are all the physical aspects of a computer system. The term device refers to any piece of hardware used by the computer, such as keyboard, monitor, printer, hard disk, CPU, etc. They help the user's interface with the software and also display the result of the task being performed. Here you can see some of the examples for hardware devices. There are a variety of hardware devices that you can use for processing, storage, and as input and output devices. Therefore, we can identify three key areas of computer hardware. Basically, we can identify them as processor, input-output devices, and storage devices. Processor. It is like the brain of the computer. It organizes and carries out instructions received from users or software. Then we have input hardware. They are input devices accepting data and instructions from the user or other computer systems. We can consider keyboard, mouse as examples for input devices. Then output devices. They translate and display the result of the data processing. For example, we can consider monitor, printer as output devices. Then we can move on to storage devices. Basically, we can categorize them as primary storage devices and secondary storage devices. The memory temporarily or permanently stores data and program instructions. The secondary storage hardware permanently keep program files and related data when they are not in use. Even when the computer is turned off, still your data will remain in the computer system. We can consider hard disk, cache, CDs, DVDs as examples for storage hardware. Processing devices transform raw data into useful information. To do that, the computer uses the processor and memory. Software. Software is a set of instructions that makes the computer perform tasks. In other words, a software tells the computer what to do. We can call software as programs. Some programs exist for the computer's use. Other programs exist for the user. Software helps the user interact with the computer system with the help of hardware. Software, as you can imagine, is the intangible aspect of the computer system. We can identify two types of software as system software and application software. System software. They control the computer's hardware or maintain the computer in some way so that it runs more efficiently. We can identify two types as operating systems and disk utilities. Operating system. That tells the computer how to use its own components. It acts as the interpreter between the hardware, application program, and users. Operating systems run all the other computer programs and even regulate the startup process of the computer. For example, we can consider Windows 10, Windows Vista, XP, Mac OS, Linux, disk utilities or utility software makes the computer system easier to use or perform highly specialized functions. For example, managing disk, troubleshooting hardware problems. Even antivirus software is a utility software. Application software. They are used to accomplish specific tasks. For example, word processing, spreadsheets, graphics, databases, communication, and presentations. We have specific application programs to use. Next, let's move on to talk about users. The people interacting with the computer system are also an element of it. They are the ultimate users of the computer system, or we can call them as computer operators. Other than that, there will be people who will design, build, program, and repair computer systems, and we can also consider them as part of the computer system. Data. We have already discussed what is data in previous lesson. Data is essentially the raw facts and figures that we input to the computer. They are processed and organized in a manner useful to the user. So, information can then be used for decision making. The measurement of data is done in terms of bytes. 1 kilobyte is approximately 1000 bytes. 1 megabyte is 1 million bytes, and 1 gigabyte is approximately 1 billion bytes. Now let's move on to activity. We are considering the same example as before. Can you go through this example again? So after going through this scenario, as an IT student, you are asked to identify hardware, software requirements, and uses of this system. Types of computers. All the computers that are developed are not alike. Rather, they have different designs and features. Some computers have very high capacity as well as working speed, and some are slow. Depending upon the requirements, computers are being developed. Most of the computers are meant to be used by only one person at a time. These types of computers are for individual users and are known as personal computers. They are also called as microcomputers as they are the smallest created for people to use. A PC can be defined as a small, relatively inexpensive computer designed for an individual user. PCs are based on the microprocessor technology that enables manufacturers to put an entire CPU on the chip. Businesses use personal computers for word processing, accounting, running spreadsheets, and storing data in database management systems. A general user at home uses PC for surfing the internet and for leisure activities, for example, gaming. Even though PCs are single-user systems, normally they are connected to run in a network. Desktop computers, the most common PC that is kept on a desk. It is too big to be carried around. Workstations. Workstation is a specialized single-user computer having more power and features than a standard desktop PC. They are used by scientists, engineers, animators who need a system with greater than average speed and power. In general, workstations have large, high-resolution graphics screen and more RAM, mass storage devices, and inbuilt network support. However, there are some workstations, we call them as diskless workstations, which do not have disk drives. Then we have laptop computers. They are portable and have same power as a desktop. Notebook computers. They are notebook size, smaller than a laptop, and they have less hardware functionality and processing power than a laptop. Sometimes notebooks are referred as laptops. Tablet computers. They are portable, fully featured computers. They offer all the functionality of a notebook PC, but they are lighter and accept input from a stylus or a digital pen. That means it does not have a physical keyboard. Handheld computers. They are small enough to fit in your hand. Personal Digital Assistant, PDA, also an example for handheld computers. Then smartphones. This includes special software such as personal organizers and hardware like cameras and music players. Therefore, it allows more facilities other than voice and text communication. Even though personal computers are developed for individual users, they also can be connected together to create networks. Even small handheld computers can be connected to networks. Other than the personal computers, there are computers used in an organization. These computers handle the needs of many users at the same time. They are used by organizations such as businesses and schools. They are also used as the center of the networks to connect and manage individual personal computers. There are several computers that are used in organizations. They are as follows. First, we can consider supercomputers. They are the largest, fastest, and most expensive computers. A typical supercomputer can solve up to 10 trillion individual calculations per second. It can process very large amount of information, including processing information to forecast weather, model complex processes like nuclear fusion, scientific simulations, electronic design, and analyze geological data. As an activity, you need to find the world's fastest supercomputer now. Mainframes. It is high capacity and expensive computer. Mainly used by government and businesses to process very large amount of information. Large mainframes can handle the processing needs of thousands of users at a given time. However, most of these mainframes can handle only a specific set of tasks. Mainframes execute many programs concurrently and support many simultaneous execution of programs. For example, mainframes are used in airline reservation systems. You may have unknowingly accessed a mainframe computer when reserving a seat through an airline's website. Minicomputers. They are similar to mainframes and are used by business organizations and governments to process large amounts of information. Users can access central minicomputers through a standard personal computer. It is a mid-size multi-processing system capable of supporting up to 250 users simultaneously. Finally, network servers. Most organizations' networks are based on personal computers. Individual users' desktop computers are connected to one or more centralized computers, which we call as network servers. We have discussed about components and different types of computers. Now, let's discuss about advantages of computers. Here you can see some advantages of computers. High speed. Computer is a very fast device. It is capable of performing calculations of very large amount of data. It can perform millions of calculations in few seconds, compared to a man who will spend many months or even years to perform the same task. Accuracy. In addition to being very fast, computers are very accurate. Most of the time, calculations are 100% error-free. But here we have to make sure that the input is correct to make sure that we get the job done with 100% accuracy. Storage capability. Memory is a very important characteristic of computers. computer has more storage capacity than human beings. So it can store large amount of data. Even it can store different types of data such as images, videos, text, audio. Persistence and consistency. Unlike human beings, a computer is free from monotony, tiredness, and lack of concentration. It can perform repeated tasks with the same speed and accuracy. Versatility. A computer is a very versatile machine. A computer is very flexible in performing the jobs it has to do. For example, in one instance, it may be solving a complex scientific problem, and the very next moment, it may be playing a card game. Automations. We consider computers as an automatic machine. Automation is the ability to perform a given task automatically. Once the computer receives the program, then the program and the instruction can control the program execution without human interaction. Reduction in paperwork and cost. The use of computers for data processing in an organization leads to reduction in paperwork and results in speeding up the process. As data is available in electronic form, it can be easily retrieved when required. The problem of maintaining a large number of paper files therefore get reduced. Though the initial investment for installing a computer is high, it substantially reduces the cost of each of its transactions. Even though there are many benefits of a computer system, there are several disadvantages too. Computer is a machine, therefore it does not have any intelligence to perform any task. Each instruction must be given to the computer. So that means a computer cannot take any decision on its own. Dependency. It functions as per the user's instructions. Therefore, it is fully dependent on humans. Also, computers do not have feelings or emotions. Finally, we can consider requirement of a suitable operating environment as a disadvantage too. We have come to the end of the lesson. Here you can see two key individuals when we consider the history of computers. As an activity, you have to find who they are. To summarize what we have discussed during this lesson, hardware, software, data, and users are basic components of a computer system. These parts interact together to get some work done. There are many different types of computers to do our work. They can be categorized as computers for individual users and computers for organizations. We will discuss in detail about these different parts of computers in next few lessons. Thank you.